Congratulations, we made it. How are you feeling?
Oh my god, it's super
Good,
exciting.
excited, yeah. Excited to like get the keys and go in the house like once you own it, like once you get the deed and everything, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we just took an hour to. Actually, it was quicker.
It was quick,
half an
yeah.
hour to sign everything, and we're officially first-time homeowners.
Oh my god, it's like so daunting. And, but yeah, I'm excited, part nervous. I have to
that's
learn how to
natural.
be a homeowner now.
Exactly. Well, I'll be here to help you along the way too, because it's definitely the journey's just
Starting,
really
yeah.
beginning. But quickly, I know we worked together for a few months. How many homes do you think we saw?
I think it was like around 10.
Okay.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there actually might have been a bit more than
More?
that.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe
Wow.
like around 15 or so.
Perhaps.
I would say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then we went through the process of submitting multiple
Oh my
offers.
god, yeah. I still remember the first one, right?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know anything about it, and then we were on a call with Matt for like an hour, and he explained to us like the whole loan process, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. It's like new stuff.
Yeah.
It was that one specifically was a learning experience,
Great,
right?
yeah.
Because like
The first one?
The first
yeah,
one,
yeah.
it's like what do you expect, and like this is like you have to strategize it, specifically, and like you mentioned to us about like these different ways that we can pull levers essentially to make a lucrative offer. So,
Yeah, and it's not just price, right?
yeah, there's so many things. We had no idea. We were like, okay, it's just the price.
Yeah.
But no, it's like so many other things that, we could change and stuff. So
No, absolutely. And would you say, how was the transition from going? I think ultimately this was our fourth or fifth
Yeah.
offer that we finally got
Yeah.
accepted. I think it
Yeah.
might have, I think it was like 5.
yeah.
What do you think changed within like our strategy between offer number 1 and then like finally getting an accepted one?
So to be honest, I remember you mentioned to us that like, your record has been like, between the 3 to 5, that's when and I was like, you know what, this is it, like, we're gonna have this is it, like, because I mean, we obviously fed off of your confidence too, right? And I feel like it was also just being more realistic in terms of like, what the list price would be, and like, we had like this checkbox, right? Like when we started, like you'd asked us for like, okay, what are the things that you need? And so I think this one met most of them, yeah, more than the others, and I feel like that, and then from a price standpoint as well, I think it just made so much more sense than any of the others.
Absolutely.
And that then helped us to like be more confident about like closing. And I think with this one, even during the offer stage, I think we were more confident than some of the others. We were confident about like the price, we were confident about like the terms and everything. The offer. And I guess that was probably also with experience, right? Like, working with in general, right? We were so naive, like with the first one, and then like we were more confident about it.
Yeah, no, and I think that kind of process is super important because there's a lot of agents out there, and obviously you've only really had experience with me, but they do more telling than kind of guiding.
Yeah.
I guided you through the first one. It's really important to kind of get maybe 1, 2, or even 3 offers under your belt because it is such a learning experience. And all I can do is kind of give you the spectrum of what to expect. But the cool thing about, towards the end of the number of offers that we were doing is I gave you a spectrum and I was like, I'm not choosing, you're choosing.
Yeah. And then, you also, I really appreciated how you asked us questions like, okay, what do you feel about this? Like, what are the things that you like? So, and that really helped us objectify some of the things and then like really make things more pragmatic, I guess. That was really helpful. Okay, I understand that, buying a house is like a feeling and things, but okay, like beyond that, there are so many other things which need to be more objective, and like you helped us, focus our attention towards some of those aspects. So we really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think putting it on a scale too, sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed and how do I even go about this? What is this worth to me? And doing something as basic as like on a scale from 1 to 5, how much do you like this?
Yeah.
And then, hey, we're willing to pay, this is really our maximum amount. So if it sells over this amount, we won't necessarily be upset about
Exactly.
it. It wasn't for us,
Yeah.
right? So we'll just keep trying until, we get the right one. And I think we ultimately did that. And, it's funny, our journey together has been lengthy enough for things to close that we've put offers on prior to you getting your offer accepted. And I remember the first one, especially, we had a certain number that we went to, and it went so far over what even we thought, and even what it should have gone.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really good learning experience too, because you were like, I really kind of had my heart set on that first one, but when I saw where it sold, I ultimately was kind of okay with it.
Even, I mean, to that point of like learning, right? Even about features of the house, right? We didn't even know. Like, I mean, initially when we started, we were really naive, honestly. Like when we met the first time, right? We're like, okay, yes, like, it was very like, yeah, this is good. But then we actually did these open houses. Like, I guess we learned what we want. And then you did a great job in like, getting us listings as well, which fit
the criteria.
Yeah. And I still remember, I believe it was this one, right? We were talking about it, and then you were like, this has your stairs. And I was like, yeah, it does. Like,
absolutely. So you had the experience of working with Matt Tran from Total Mortgage. How was your experience with that?
That process was good too. I think like initially he really educated us on like, where the numbers are. And again, like both of us are from a science background, so we really appreciate like, okay, you have a number, but like, tell us like, how do you arrive to that? And so he did a good job in like explaining to us like early on, and then even like right now when we had questions about like, how did we get the rate that we did, he explained to us like the whole point system and things like that. I think we appreciate that. So we know what we are getting ourselves into, and that gives more a peace of mind. So
absolutely. That's great. I'm glad that he was great to work with. And then we also used DR Law as your closing attorney. So how was your experience with that?
It was so smooth. Like it was so smooth, and then also comforting, right? I guess like it's such a daunting experience. Like we were really nervous last night, right? Like it's a 30-year mortgage, like and like we were really scared about that. I mean, we
I've
still
never
are,
seen the
honesty.
2054 in any document before this. That it says
because you get all the payments broken down to you. I mean, the good thing about it is very few people actually make it the full 30 years. You're either refinancing or you're selling and moving on. There's many different scenarios, but especially people that are in like the millennial category. I mean, typically within 5 to 10 years, you're selling that and moving on to your next step. So don't let that scare you. Because yes, the 30 years is quite a long time.
That's true.
So now that we've gone through first-time home buying process, what piece of advice, and I'd like to hear from each of you what each of your piece of advice is to someone who's starting the process?
I think even though the process it's daunting, it really helps to just go get into it. How it worked out for us, like, a couple of offers, it's a learning experience. Like, sure, there's like a heartbreak associated with this, especially if, there is that we really like. But then like, you need to go through that in order to like, then come out of it and be like, okay, you know what, it didn't financially make sense, for example. And I also feel like, 4 and 5 offers is like that sweet spot that you should go through that process. You come out as a different person in terms of like understanding the whole process. So I think it's really helpful. And that's what I would say. It is daunting, definitely we were scared.
But
then I just figured that you have to go through those processes to understand what you like.
So don't get discouraged.
Don't get discouraged. Not at all. Yeah.
Perfect. And how about you, Admit?
I would say have a list of must-haves, good to have, nice to have. Try to stick to it as much as possible, but also be open to like switching up. What you might think is good to have might become nice to have. For me, after I realized, I think it was in the basement that I actually need sunlight. So that became a must-have. Like, no, I cannot do without sunlight. So I think it's good to make a list and be ready to adjust it a bit.
And it's an evolution.
Yeah, it's evolved,
Exactly. So it's great that you mentioned that, because on paper, especially when you were first starting out, that Woburn place looked amazing. And you put your 2 feet inside of the home and you said, you know what, I think this is becoming like a hard limit for me as far as like what I can do. So I always tell people too, don't just look at the Zillow pictures. You really have to go and see a place, see how it feels, see what the community feels like, and then obviously what the living space, and it's an evolution, and the only way to really go through that evolution is to go and see all these different places and what they feel like. So that's great. And then one more question and I'll let you go. Why would you recommend working with me?
You are extremely focused. I really appreciate your work ethic. Like, even though you had like, plans for yourself for the summer, you were still available. You gave us that comfort, I guess. Sure, it's a daunting process, but like, we got this. Like, I think that confidence, it really helps. If you go with someone who's not responsive, passive or like, who themselves are not confident in like the whole process. It discourages, especially like a first-time home buyer who doesn't know much about stuff, right?
Right.
I also feel that whenever we would go to like a place, your perspective was really helpful in like, oh, you know what, you could change this. This is a good like, investment that, if you put in like for the cabinets, for example, right? Forest Drive, those units there. Like, you could like change it this way. We didn't know about it and there was no way to find out, right? But like you've exposed us to this whole new, I guess like, thing that, we never knew about. So we appreciate all those, like, I remember these things and like, I've taken that to heart and like, I also appreciate your objectivity. You put the onus on us to make the decisions, which we really appreciate. Again, like, it never felt like, it was like, I mean, you can have this like, personal, like, there would be like a incentive essentially for a sale to happen, but that was never the case with you. There were times like with this one, for example, when we thought of like, okay, going in another direction, and then you were like, okay, why do you think like that? And we had that conversation. So we appreciate like you being so open with us about all that.
Amazing.
I have recommended you to my friends too. So already done that.
We did actually.
I appreciate that. No, I truly do, and it's been a pleasure and a journey, and I hope a good one for you. And I'm so excited to see what you do to your new home.
Yes.
Most importantly, I'm always still available. Our relationship doesn't end. You're stuck with me. And I hope you come to our next event, which is coming up.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, let us know. We'll
absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Rebecca.
Awesome.
Thank you.